So this review is going to be structured a little differently than others. We're going to talk a little bit about expectations versus reality. Blood Quantum is the new Shudder exclusive directed by Jeff Barnaby. It stars Michael Greyeyes, Elle-Maija Tailfeathers, and Forrest Goodluck, and it tells the story of a zombie virus that infects all who come in contact with it, except for a small reservation of Native Americans who are strangely immune. When I first heard about this movie, my first thought was probably the same as most, which was, holy shit, that premise is fantastic. A world-ending virus that infects everyone except for the indigenous inhabitants of the infected land? That's genius, and as far as I know, it's never been done. Plus, it leaves the door open for a ton of environmentalist and anti-colonial messages, while also providing great representation for Native American actors to shine. We love representation on this channel, but what I got from Blood Quantum was really only one of those things.
This planet we're on is so sick of our shit. That's why the dead keep coming back to life.
So like I said, I'm going to do this review a little bit differently. I'm going to tackle the negatives first, because they severely clashed with my expectations of what this movie was going to be. But then when I delve into the positives, I'm going to talk about what this movie actually was. So yeah, right off the bat, this movie was not what I expected. But when such a big part of the story is centered on the main character Trailer and his son Joseph, both of whom are fairly flat characters who we never really get enough insight into, it really squanders the awesome choice of casting. Michael Greyeyes and Forrest Goodluck do a really good job with what they're given, but what they're given doesn't really amount to much past a very surface-level story about fatherhood. The prologue for this film, set 6 months before the rest of the film, sets a very different tone than what the rest of the movie gives you. And that kind of film never really reappears after the first 15 to 20 minutes. The messages that I was hoping for weren't really there. Sure, there are allusions to anti-colonialist and environmentalist messages, and you could absolutely interpret the zombies as a stand-in for the way that colonialists destroyed Native American way of life and forced them to the brink of extinction, but it never really goes deeper than that. The few lines of dialogue referencing those themes that are scattered throughout the film feel more haphazardly tacked onto there than they do functioning as an actual through line. There was a lot of potential for a really deep, meaningful message here, but it ends up feeling more akin to a story that could easily take place in the Walking Dead universe, but with Native American characters. That being said, let's talk about what this movie does right, because by no means is this a bad film. It's clear that Jeff Barnaby had a very distinct vision for this movie, it just didn't align with what I was expecting. And that vision comes through in the beautifully muted, moody color palette, and in the really gorgeous, somber shot compositions. There's a shot toward the end of this movie where a certain character is sacrificing himself, and it's probably my favorite shot in the film, with this really wide shot on a misty lake as said character is fighting off a horde of zombies in the background, while Joseph is sitting in the foreground staring ahead somberly, and we, the audience, are seeing the aftermath of that whole attack in the background play out while he looks away. It's a really fantastic shot, and I loved it, and there are so many moments like that that are really just these quiet, impactful, deeply moving and sad shots that totally summarize the tone of this film. On top of all that, if you're a fan of insane bloody carnage and intestines being ripped out and limbs flying everywhere, this movie is for you. The practical effects are fantastic, and at times it reaches Evil Dead levels of bloody violence, just with a more serious tone. And that's what made me realize what this movie actually was. Whether or not it wanted to be, it's not the environmentalist piece I was hoping for, but rather just a fun, splatter-happy zombie film with a diverse cast and a lot of gore. Whether you can get on board with that is a totally different story, and while it didn't live up to my expectations, I did like this movie and I would definitely recommend it. I'm gonna say that Blood Quantum is good for fans of zombie apocalypse films. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, click down there, like, comment, subscribe. There's a Patreon link down in the description, and I could really use your help now more than ever if you want to donate to this channel, help us grow, develop, make new, better quality content for you all to enjoy. You could be like these cool people right here. There's all sorts of cool new rewards, anything from access to my private Discord server, to access to special videos early, to gifts sent right to your door once a month, once quarantine ends. If any of that interests you, please consider donating. I would really appreciate it. But even if you don't, thank you so much for watching anyway, and I'll see you all very soon.
Who says we're immune?
O dukja uksid hamo. Awenda sui luxiko.